Welcome everyone. Now that we have our algorithm for flipping our coin, we can build a class around this algorithm. So we need to define the class, so we'll type in public class coin, and we'll use the open and close curly braces, and all of our code needs to go inside those two curly braces. The basic parts of the class are its fields, which are define the attributes of the class. A constructor, which allows us to create an instance of the class, and methods, which allow us to create behaviors for the class, such as writing a method to flip the coin. So let's start with the attributes of our coin. Coins can have various attributes such as a shape, a round shape, a face on either side of the coin, a color, the material it's made out of, but we're going to concentrate on three basic attributes: either side, heads or tails, and the fact that it has two faces that we will be changing when we flip the coin. So a coin, at least an American coin, always has one picture for heads and one picture for tails. So the fact that the coin has heads and tails all the time will not change. So we're going to write a constant for each of these variables. So we'll say private final int heads is equal to 1, and then we end our statement in a semicolon. Private is the scope of the variable. Private means it's only available to this coin class. Final means that we're making a constant, which means that this variable is not going to change its value throughout the course of the program. Int stands for integer. There are 5 basic primitive data types that we'll be dealing with in this course. This is the first one. Heads, notice that it's spelled in all capitals. This is the name of our variable, and we put it in all caps because it's a constant. This is just a naming convention that I suggest you use. The equal sign is an assignment statement, and it's used to assign the value 1 to heads. So let's write the same statement for tails. So we'll say private final int tails, and we're going to assign it the value of 2. Our last variable or instance field is the one for the face, and this one does change, so we will not make it a constant. So we'll write private int face, and then we're going to write our constructor. The constructor is very similar to the definition or class signature. So we write public, we skip the word class and just write coin. However, the constructor ends with an open and closed parentheses, and then we need our open and closed curly braces. And we are going to add our flip method to our constructor so that when we create an instance of the coin, it automatically flips the coin and gives us a head or tails result. So down here in the methods, we need to write our flip method. So we'll write public void flip, and it needs to end in an open and closed parentheses, and then we need our open and closed curly braces. And inside this method, we're going to add the algorithm that we created in the previous video and assign it to face. So we'll say face is equal to, and this is our algorithm in the previous video. If you want a detailed explanation, go ahead and watch that video. We are casting our result as an integer, and we'll type in math.random, and then of course we'll multiply it by the number of chances that we have, 2, since we're talking about a coin with 2 faces, and then we will add 1 to our results and end with a semicolon. The other types of methods that a class can have are an assessor method, which gets a value of the class at a particular time, and that's usually called a getter method, and a mutator method like the flip class, which mutates or changes one of our variables, such as face up here. So we have a mutator method. Let's write an assessor method for one of our values up here. So we can say public Boolean is heads, and this method is going to return true if we flip to heads. So we'll use an open and close curly brace, and then we want to return if face is actually turn true if face is actually equal to heads. Now we can also do this for tails. So we'll write public Boolean is tails. Don't forget your open and close curly braces. I like to add both of them at once so I don't forget one of them. And so we will return true if face is actually equal to tails. And the last type of method that a class has is a toString method. ToString methods return information about the class as a string, and we'll be talking more about strings later on, but suffice it to say strings are text. So we will write a toString method for public string toString, and we'll use our open and close curly braces. And then we're going to create a local variable called face name to hold the so we'll do string face name. A local variable means that we instantiate the variable inside the method, and it's only available when the method is running. As soon as the method is over, the garbage collector gets rid of the variable, and we have the space usable by some other variable that we might create at a later time. So now we want to use a conditional and basically say that if our face is equal to heads, we're going to return the words heads, and otherwise we're going to return the word tails. So we'll say if, and then in these parentheses we'll write a condition that will be true. So if face is equal to heads, then this part of the statement is true. So we will return face name is equal to the word heads and end our statement in a semicolon. Else, the second part of our statement, our conditional statement, we just open and close curly braces. But notice here that we don't have a condition because this part of this method is for everything else. So in any other case, we write face name is equal to the word tails, and we're going to end with a semicolon. Now, because we defined this as a string, we need to return a string. So at the end of this method, we're going to type in return face name. So let's compile, and it's asking us to save our class. So we'll go ahead and save it. I suggest you create yourself on your drive a folder for each project that you do for this class. So you might want to, I'm just going to go ahead and create it on the desktop here, and then I'm going to create a new folder, and this is going to be for GLL Java projects, and then inside of that folder I'm going to create a folder for my coin flip game, and inside that folder I will save my coin class. And if you get compilation complete, there are no error message. And you can run your program. For instance, if I forget a semicolon, I can compile, and it will highlight where it thinks it found an error. So notice down here it says, in the coin flip folder, in the class coin, on line 34, it thinks I need a semicolon, which I do. So I'll put it back in and compile again. And that is all for our coin class. We'll be introducing a lot of errors and practicing fixing them in another video. So have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.